everyone knows what Russian roulette is. 2 or more people, 6-shot revolver, 1 round in the cylinder, and you pass it around until someone's head gets blown off. Well, what if we change things up a bit? What if, instead of a revolver, we used a whole-ass shotgun? I'm Mac, and I've got your back. This is Jetavision's review of Buckshot Roulette. Shout out to a friend of the channel, IVV4, for donating it to us.
Much is true.
Review this game or you're going to get cataracts and erectile dysfunction. So in Buckshot Roulette, you're in this sketchy nightclub making your way to a game room where you're playing some Russian roulette against this demon guy to win a load of cash. You sign a waiver and the game begins. So again, instead of using a revolver for your degenerate gambling, you're using a shotgun loaded with an assorted mix of blanks and lethal shells. You both have a certain amount of lives and you take turns shooting each other until you or the other guy gets blasted. Name of the game, take all the other guy's lives while keeping your own. Of course, you can also point the shotgun at yourself. This puts you at risk of shooting yourself in the face, but if it's a blank, you get another turn. And with less blanks in the chamber, that tilts the odds a bit. That's a bit of a thing with the game. It's all about probability. It's worth paying attention to how many blanks and lethals there are, and keeping track of them as the game goes on to best determine your next move. If there's 2 blanks and 1 lethal round in the chamber, well, that might say something about your next move. That's not to say it all comes down to probability, though. As the game goes on, you both get access to items that can tilt the odds in your favor. Cigarettes to regain lives, magnifying glasses to take a peek into the chamber, a saw to deal extra damage, handcuffs to restrain the other person to skip their turn, and beer. Well, this is rum, which allows you to dispense a shell with no risk to yourself, which can help tip the probability. So again, you're both taking turns with the shotgun using items to help you along, and you win by shooting the other guy enough times so that he loses all his lives. Winning means taking home a briefcase filled with money. How much money you get is determined on how well you've played. You start with a base of $70,000, but when you die or use cigarettes or beer, that brings the grand total down. Beating the initial game gives you access to the double or nothing mode. Here, the game plays out as usual, but with some differences. The most obvious being that winning gives you 2 options. You can take the money and run, or choose to risk another game to double your stack to go for the high score. So it's basically the game's endless mode. However, unlike before, there's no one to revive you. You need to win every single time, as dying just once means you lose it all. Everything. There's also a few more items too. Adrenaline allows you to steal items from the other. Inverters can change the lethality of the current shell. Inspired Medicine has a 50-50 chance of regaining 2 charges or making you lose 1. And the cell phone can tell you the lethality of future shells. So it opens the way for a lot more strategy and risk taking. Despite its simple gameplay, Buckshot Roulette does a really good job of building tension. It's just that little delay between when the shotgun is aimed and when it's actually fired. When the gun's aimed at you and you hear that click, it's such a relief. And when you're pointing it at the dealer, hearing that bang just sounds so good. Really excellent payoff. And while the game does do a good job of letting players plan and strategize, it's honestly at its best when you don't exactly know what's gonna happen. Like there's 4 blanks in the chamber and only 1 lethal round. Like sure, that's an 80% chance of safety, but you never quite know. That 1 bullet can show up at any time. It provides a bit of that gambler's rush, even when you haven't really put anything up other than a high score. And honestly, that's just awesome. And the dealer, the AI, is no pushover either. You can definitely tell it's keeping track of everything going on. It is clearly paying attention to the blanks and lethals and uses its items to the best of its abilities to beat the player. It's an opponent that really keeps you on your toes, and you'll have to play to the best of your abilities to keep up with it. And of course, the graphics deserve special mention. We dig the low poly aesthetic going on here. We like the dark and dingy atmosphere, the weird tech all over. It takes what's really just a simple game and makes it a lot more memorable. It gives it a lot more personality. So Buckshot Roulette is a very, very simple but enjoyable game. It's fun to keep track of everything going on, strategize, and sometimes take a chance on blind luck every now and then. We're gonna give this one a 7.5 out of 10. As far as recommendations go, while Buckshot Roulette is hardly a game you'll play for hours on end, its low price of $3 is quite fair for what you get and makes it well worth the purchase. So if it looks good to you, we'd say give it a buy. But that's our review of Buckshot Roulette. Now if you're new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. You have just watched a review from the Jetavision. If you like our content and want to keep up to date with our game and movie reviews, subscribe to the channel, follow the Twitter, and join the Discord. Mac Cheese to Jetavision, signing out. You all have a good one.
No! Much is true! This much is true. Much, much is true. Oh, I know this much is true. I know this much is true.